Go. We've pushed the magic button, so we are live. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is well. It's great for us to be back. There's a couple of bits of kind of, I guess, general housekeeping that we've got to go over in terms of kind of where we've been for the past week or so. So we'll cover that off because no doubt it's a question that's going to come up multiple times, possibly tonight. So we'll kick off just, I guess, by doing that. And then also what we're going to do is you might have noticed that the person to the side of me is not Duncan because he's off gallivanting around a country park somewhere doing a 5K race this evening. So he's unfortunately not around for this evening, and he's also away for the next 2 weeks after that. So he goes away at the weekend for 2 weeks. So chances are our Q&As that we do here on a Wednesday are going to be myself and Maker, hopefully. If obviously both of our schedules align, then it'll be both of us. If not, then chances are it may well be me that's solo, because obviously Maker may well be kind of stuck in a work shift pattern or something similar. But hopefully you'll have us both, and we can kind of keep them going with some normality.
I'll definitely try to make it and be consistent. So
awesome. No, that'll be good. It'll be good to have you. Good to have you with me. That's for sure. So what I'm very quickly going to do is before we obviously do a quick, I guess, intro to Maker, just going to kind of cover off that talking point about where we've been in the last week and why you guys might not have seen any content from us on the channel. Unfortunately, if you are in our Discord, then you may well have seen that we put a post out earlier this week at the start of the week just to kind of confirm. There was a couple of videos kind of that kind of predate Duncan and myself taking on the channel, which Amazon took a bit of an issue with. And unfortunately, despite our best efforts in kind of appealing and trying to justify the nature of what it was that we were trying to do, YouTube kind of felt that it was against their guidelines. So they kind of obviously they literally put a hold on the channel, which stopped us basically being able to push any content out, push any community messages, or do any live content as well. So that's we haven't been taking a break. We haven't forgotten that we're actually supposed to be running CGX. It's just that kind of our hands have been a little bit tied. One thing I will say is thankfully that's all now sorted. Obviously we got our first video back out yesterday, and obviously we've done a good sweep in the channel just to kind of take anything down that we kind of have concerns over that might potentially kind of come back and bite us in the ass, and kind of cause us some problems. So that's kind of where we've been, and also I know some of you have mentioned in kind of our previous Q&As we also have our kind of monetization back, so memberships and all that sort of stuff is back as normal. We've been working really really hard. We went for a good few weeks kind of without that, and we had to do some work with YouTube just to kind of get that back. So we kind of had that all going on, at the same time as we kind of went through July. But there we go. That's those bits out of the way, and we are glad to obviously be back here, back with all of you in chat. It's great to see you all as usual. What we are going to do, I think we obviously. Most of you will recognise Maker's voice, and if you've been obviously in and around CGX for a while, you would have seen him on kind of some of the Saturday podcasts that they used to do with the big round table that everybody used to love, and of course. Obviously, he's done some gameplay, some how-tos, and he's covered a little bit of news for us. But as it's his kind of first time on the Q&A, just thought we'd kind of throw it over to Maker, ask him how he's doing, what he's been up to, what he's been playing, and get him just to give you guys a little bit of an intro into kind of Maker himself, I guess.
okay, I'm doing pretty good. Busy working and playing games, honestly. As for like what I've been playing Escape Academy on Game Pass with my girlfriend. That's been a lot of fun. I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft because whenever there's some dry periods, that's my go-to. I'm a big MMO guy. I played Lost Ark. I played New World, all the whole shebang. And I've been stuck into that loop into World of Warcraft all over again. But there's some games upcoming, so I'm definitely going to be playing a lot more different games. I'm trying to think of some other like little games that I've played. I've been played a little bit of Elden Ring, a little bit of, because I love those Souls games, and just all over the place in terms of genres.
Yeah. That, to be honest, I know from obviously conversations we have sort of off air, that sounds fairly typical for you, to be honest. And
Yeah.
if you're stuck in World of Warcraft, then I would say that maybe a standard chance of keeping up with you on game completions for the year. But I no doubt you are probably way ahead of me already because literally, you guys might not see it because obviously Maker's not necessarily on the channel all the time. But every time I catch up with Maker, he's always saying, "Oh yeah, I beat this week. I beat this week. I did this week." And and it's mad how many between between work and kind of normal life. I think sometimes it's insane the amount of games that you play. I swear you don't sleep.
So sometimes I don't, but it really it comes down to sometimes there's downtime at work, and I get time to spend on it. But as of late, work has because I'm eyeing a promotion, so I'm really trying to work harder right now, and I know that there'll be some new positions opening up next month, and so really looking towards that. So that's why I've kind of slowed down on the game playing.
It's all right. I don't mind. I don't mind. How many games have you completed this year?
I actually haven't kept track, but I know it's a fair amount still, though.
See, I started this year with the same target as I did last year because I was like, do you know what? If I set that as a target between work and content creation and that sort of stuff, I kind of figured, at least I'll get a good selection of games done throughout the course of the year. And that target is normally basically to run an average of one game a month to complete, which I'm pleased to say that in August, as we've gone into August, I've nearly done it already. I've finished 11 this month, so 11 this year, not this month. Jesus, I finished 11 this year, so I can't complain. So.
I probably have you beat already, because I think I'd beat at least like 8 before Elden Ring, and I know I've beaten Far Cry 5. What other games have I beat? I can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately.
It's all good. It's all good. Let's take a quick minute to say hello to everybody in the chat. So we have got GS Brixie. Thanks for jumping in. We've got Blanco N. Shadow Dark as usual. Good to see you. Obviously, you are in the chat every week, and we love seeing you there. Some fella who is supposed to be out running around a park, who clearly was running.
You're awesome.
Was running around the park. Thanks for becoming a member, Vet. We do appreciate it. He clearly was because he's had 2 cracks at putting his comments. So cheers for jumping in, Duncan. Obviously we've got a question there to come back to from Shadow Dark as well. We've got K's Ball. Thanks for jumping in. And of course we've got Vet in the house. Hope you're doing well, Vet. It's good to see you. And just quickly scroll through anything else. We are good for now. So that leads us, I guess, Maker, to jumping into our first question. And that first question's from Shadow Dark, which is, okay, so xCloud, when are Microsoft going to announce more about playing own digital games and what the titles will be? Let's give us your take on that, Maker, because I know that you've been having a conversation about some changes that you've noticed, or potential changes that were kind of being noticed, and I know you were talking about that with some of the guys earlier. So, what do you reckon?
I want to say it's sooner rather than later that they're going to talk about it. I think that there's a lot of changes implementing with xCloud that I think are shifting that way sooner rather than later. So I think maybe I'll just go September for a safe bet. I think September is a really prime month. It's right before October, and which I know Plague's Tale and a few other titles are going to be dropping the next month. So announcing that in September would be a safe bet.
Okay, so are you saying announce in September and go live later, or are you saying announce and go live in the same month?
I think it'll go live either October or November. I think it's gonna be pretty late in the year.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. But I think it'll be in the last quarter of that year, possibly. I think, yeah, probably late October. I would say is when I see it. Late October, first week in November would be where I see it going. But we'll, well, yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's something that obviously everybody's talking about. It's the natural progression for xCloud, isn't it? It's about kind of play games that you've got in your library. It's about to add, games, in xCloud. It's a feature that I think everybody wants. Obviously, Game Pass itself, we know the value that obviously that brings, and how many games there are in there to kind of be enjoyed, and the features that they're building to make sure that the mobile experience is optimized, touch controls that are kind of unique with to individual games and that sort of stuff. But I think this is now, as they've kind of been pushing, they've stabilised the quality much more through the course of this year. It's the big one that people are looking at, after getting themselves onto Samsung TVs, of course. Let's have a look. Where are we next? So we've got Case Ball. Without Doubt Maker, we get this question every week. So we normally get, I guess, we normally get, can you tell us what's coming tomorrow, or is such and such coming tomorrow? Now, obviously, of course, we can't answer the question. I guess officially, but there's nothing we can say about what is coming because obviously we're under embargo for that sort of stuff. So we can't kind of divulge it. However, obviously it's the first of the month. It's obviously it's the big update. The start of that first update in every month is huge for GFN because it normally sets out some of the expectation or some of the roadmap for what people can expect. So I guess all I can see is kind of obviously keep your eyes peeled for for GFN Thursday and the usual news. I know we're obviously, as usual, we're going to have a couple of videos out for that tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled. And I don't think I can say any more than that.
Yep.
So,
just wait for Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. If I say anything more, I'll get in trouble. Duncan's probably already listening to this going, stop, you're saying too much already, but hey ho.
I think you did good because that is accurate for GFN to typically outline their month on the first week, and just look out for that.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, there's plenty to be coming along. Vet's got a couple of questions for you, which obviously we've got to get you to answer them. So, oh dear, I'm not even sure that we want to get you to answer the first one because I think we know the answer to that one. So, I tell you what, I'll go for the Apple one because it's the safe one. So,
I'll ask both. I'll answer both.
Go for it. You can answer them both.
For the why do I love Stadia so much? I like its ease of use particularly, and I do think it's probably one of the more streamlined one. For me, that and xCloud, I think, do a really good job of streamlining an experience and with like the UI and stuff of that nature. That it's just real clean, and I like that aspect from it. Connection wise, Stadia is definitely one of the best latency and stuff like that. And so if only they can get their marketing and get those games down, then I would be a lot more happy with them. As for the why am I not on board with Team Apple? I've always been an Android guy. I love having that freedom to grab something that might not be in the Apple store, and I hate that feeling of being tied down, especially as a PC user for so long. I always, I've done emulation, I've done modding, so it's hard to break that habit.
Nice. There we go. I think we've I think you answered those really well, to be fair. In fairness, that could have, if you asked Duncan that question, that could have taken a whole different turn. So, Next question we've got is from Shadow Dark. So, do you go for 100% achievement on completed games?
This is I'm actually picky about what games I 100% achieve. Uh, it's very few, and I will say Elden Ring is one of those. I currently have 100% of the achievements on both PC and on Xbox. My
Right.
brother recently picked it up on PlayStation, so I might play it again through the PS5 just so that I can grab that third 100% achievement. So, other games I've 100%ed, Halo 3 was one. Getting all the achievements in Halo 3. Just very selective on which particular titles I do want those. Uh, I have to really love a game to
Yeah,
to get it.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean because I think there's some games as well you play. I think
I
when you
think
look at
I
some of the Steam achievements, you look at some of them and think like you either look at it and take it as a challenge, or you look at it and go, "There is no goddamn way that I'm doing that. It's not happening. I'll just move along with one last trophy, thanks, or achievement."
I got close in God of War. I don't know if I got all the achievements in God of War, but I know I did all the side quests in that game, and like even killed like the Valkyrie Queen, which is like a big side boss that you can defeat. So yeah, select titles usually that ones that I think are great.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. I mean, for me, a lot of the time, I wouldn't say that the achievements are not a thing for me, but most often with a lot of the games you play, it's kind of about the story, about the gameplay, and kind of obviously kind of seeing those elements through. And then yeah, if the game grabs you enough, then obviously it's the kind of thing where you are kind of going to you're either going to take the game at that pace where you can kind of obviously make sure that you're picking them all up, or alternatively you kind of get to that sort of continue plus or new game plus type thing where you can kind of go back in and kind of carry on and kind of go then and hunt the outstanding ones. So um, there we go. What have we got next? I'm just going to say hey to Luke. So thanks for jumping in. Glad to see you back in the chat. It's great to see everybody. Great to see everybody here. Obviously, for those eagle-eyed of you, there's been an origin code dropped into chat. So feel free to claim that and just obviously let us know in the chat when you've claimed it, just so everybody knows, I guess. Where are we? Where are we going? Yeah, I guess Luca, just to kind of touch on that, just so you don't think we're kind of skipping over the question. Obviously, with these things with GFN, that we can't kind of say anything about what's coming, but obviously, just keep your eyes peeled, for the news. And equally as well, if there are games, I think it's worth touching on. Myself and Duncan, we were having a catch up with the guys at GFN yesterday, and kind of they were sort of saying, obviously as long as you do it in a real respectful way, they know they get questions about particular games, like Lucas mentioned GTA 5 there. They know that they get inundated with those sorts of requests and that sort of thing. But the one thing that they have said is kind of obviously make sure that you guys respectfully go and let the right people know that make some good positive noise about the fact that you want the game there, because
Yep.
those kind of things make conversations easier. Nvidia, as we've said in the past, the GFN team, and Nvidia, they want as many games. They're at 1,300 plus at the moment, and there's an absolute stack more that they could add, and no doubt will add. But they want as many games as they possibly can, and a lot of that comes from from people in the communities and that sort of thing, reaching out to developers, publishers, the GFN team, putting the requests in, all those sorts of things, just to sort of let people know the games that people are kind of really hyped for. Because I can genuinely tell you, those things get paid attention to. And if there is, you start to see noise about certain things, and if things can be done, they will go and have productive conversations to see whether there's any appetite or any possibility in bringing those things, to GeForce Now.
Well, I will say, historically, Take-Two hasn't had the best relationship with putting games on GFN. So, I think there definitely needs to be some talks to get those games onto GFN.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Shadow Dark said it earlier in the chat. I noticed, and we sort of say it, I guess, a lot. Is we fully expect 2K to be, or we hope that 2K. It's a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
It's just a case. It's taking its damn time.
Yeah.
So,
Because I do think they have a very good library that I think GFN could really benefit from.
yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. So just touch on this one. So Sam, the Piano Man, I think Shadow Dark has obviously just kind of responded to that further down the chat. But yeah, just to kind of confirm what's been said. God of War. If you played it before that cut-off point at the start of July, so provided you booted it up and got into the menu before the start of July, then the game will remain in your library. It will remain accessible. It will remain to be updated under what Nvidia have now as this kind of legacy support agreement. If there is a game leaving, that's God of War was the first game that they've sort of done that with. So yeah, that's so if you've played it before the end of June, then yeah, it won't be disappearing from your library. So we go back to Shadow Dark. We've got lots of handheld devices coming out now. What do you think is the ideal screen size for handheld gaming? Anything less than 7-inch screen for me just doesn't work for the experience. What's your take on that? Obviously, I know you've got a Steam Deck maker, so but what's your shout on that?
I would say probably about the Steam Deck size because I don't know the exact dimensions, but for me, I love the size of it. It works great. I think it's a little bit bigger than the Switch screen, maybe.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but it playing games on that is such an enjoyable experience. Whether it's I'm playing on like XCloud, playing some games through that, or uh, playing like Blasphemous. I need to get back to that game, but I was playing Blasphemous on it, which is Metroidvania indie game. Really enjoyed like my time when I went to the beach. That was the game that I played to kill time if I took a break from going to the beach. So yeah, I think the size of that screen is just it's just right.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, that sort of Switch Steam Deck size, I think they are kind of in the ballpark for what's comfortable. And I think if you think about it as well from a mobile gaming perspective, then if people are using Kishis or backbones and that sort of stuff, I think in around that 6 to 7 inches, is about the right the right window for screen. Which reminds me, actually, I'll almost soon be able to talk about my Steam Deck because I was due to get it in after October. Talking of handheld devices, and I know Shadow Dark's had his join it, but yeah, I was due to get kind of mine October onwards, so it would be after October. But obviously, with the announcement that they kind of put out last week that they managed to kind of resolve some of the supply chain issues and the constraint and that sort of thing, my order's actually updated to between July and September for availability. So obviously July's out the window, so it's either going to be this month or it's going to be next month. So
hopefully this month.
I hope so.
But I did want to confirm what Shadow Dark said. It is a 7-inch screen. I looked it up, and but yeah, that 7-inch sweet spot. I definitely think is an ideal one to hit.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Especially if you are, because obviously I guess there's going to be an element of some games where, I guess there's some games which are probably not ideal actually, where you probably don't necessarily want to game on a small screen. But I think for the type of games that you're going to want to be playing, I think it is, it is in the right ballpark. Let's scroll through some more of these comment. So we've got. I'm just going to bring this one up from Golden Sun 3DS. I've wanted to do this for a while, but I lack the editing skills. How about a video where you record a service like Shadow PC at various bit rates to show the quality you can expect at certain bit rates? We will kind of take that feedback. We're always open to kind of feedback in terms of the types of video, the types of content, the types of things that you guys want to see. So yeah, we'll take that and kind of we'll discuss it between us in the team and kind of see maybe who is kind of most fitted to kind of pick that one up and try and I won't promise that we'll get it done, but we'll feed that into kind of our plan. I guess lifting the lid a little bit on kind of what we do behind the scenes from a CGX perspective. We've got a whole sort of kind of schedule Kanban board that we've got on the go, and we kind of, myself, Maker, Duncan, we tend to get together on a Sunday, usually after all the sporting events, whether it be Formula One, football, or whatever it is, and obviously to make sure it's the right time, sort of, so that it's not the middle of the night for Maker. We get together on a Sunday and kind of try and map out and plan out contents for at least a week or two in advance, so that we're in a position to better tell you what's sort of coming, and kind of we're looking just to kind of enhance that and keep pushing that forward, I guess.
I do think that is a good one. I did want to mention that it might not be best if I did the recording, because for me, Shadow PC, it pulls from the Texas data center, which I live in Georgia. I'm quite a ways away, and so I get some latency through Shadow already. It'd be better if someone was who recorded it was closer. So we'll definitely talk about it though.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I guess the follow-up to that from Golden Sun is for services like Stadia, kind of, artificial speed limit applied, and that sort of stuff.
I was going to say, we could compare the 30 FPS games to the 60 FPS, because there's definitely a difference there, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of things we've been looking at in similar vein of things like that, and stuff like priority tier, priority tier on GFN, RTX, kind of same game, how is it performing, how's it looking, to kind of try and dissect and sort of pull that sort of stuff apart. So it's great to see these feedback and these kind of suggestions from you guys, because it's that's what we want to see. So we've got another question from Sam the Piano Man. Is Shadow PC okay to play Steam games? Do you know what? You can go first, Maker, actually.
I think depending on your connection, like for me, I have issues with Shadow PC personally, but if you have a solid connection to Shadow PC, I have known a lot of people who do play their games through that service and enjoy it a lot. It's a solid rig.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. I mean, I know there's a lot of talk about Shadow at the moment, purely because of kind of obviously the changes, price increases, spec increases, all those sorts of things, which a lot of which they covered kind of in that interview that Duncan did a few weeks back. But essentially, if you are looking for a cloud PC as it is at the moment, I mean, yes, some of the spec may be a little bit aging, but I think it's okay to do a solid job, for Steam games. That's for sure. Where are we going next? Oh, Shadow Dark Saints big update, Steam OS 3.3 today.
Yep.
I'm guessing Maker's already got it.
I actually haven't turned it on today, so I need to check it out.
Nice. Nice. So we've got a question from Luca. What difficulty should I play the God of War on? I am a beginner.
I think it depends. I think normal will give a solid um, difficulty. It'll give you a little. I think as a beginner, it might give you a little bit of a challenge. But if you do need to tone it down, you can actually in the menu you can change it at any time. I, I I personally did that for the Valkyrie Queen. I was playing on hard through my entire playthrough, and then I got to the Valkyrie Queen, and she kicked my butt, and I said, "Screw this! I'm not spending forever on this," and dropped it to easy.
Nice. It is nice that you can actually do that mid game because yeah, there are some points where when you kind of if you make that decision and you're locked into it, sometimes it can be such a pain because you kind of either get to the point where you that determination, that grit, kind of you end up gritting your teeth and you're like, God damn it, I am not leaving this chair until I've finished. I'm not until I've done it. I'm not moving. Or alternatively, some people, if it gets that frustrating, some people just turn it off and don't go back to it. And that's for a lot of people. That's how some games don't get finished. It's exactly that.
The problem I had was there was better armor that I could farm up and get, but it was hours of farming, and I wasn't gonna go back and farm up like the best and greatest gear just to fight the Valkyrie Queen. I wanted to defeat it then and there, and I didn't want to. To me, it felt kind of off to go back and spend that much time just for one boss. And so I just dropped it to easy. I didn't really care too much.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think we all have to do it at times, don't we? So there's no shame in dropping it down. I should give Happy a shout out. Thanks for jumping in. We need to sort your notifications out, Happy. We need to get that sorted. As Shadow Dark again, as always, he's great in chat. Kind of jumping in and kind of making sure that kind of people's questions are answered. And ironically, he says a lot of the same things that we do. So thank you very much. It's appreciated. Okay. So next one, talking of Shadow Dark, actually. When is PlayStation going to get into the cloud space by opening up beyond playing on PC and console? What's your thoughts on this one, Maker?
Um, I think they've still got some time. I think they're trying to figure it out at the moment, but I don't see it happening until next year because I know they want to push consoles at the end of the year. With God of War coming out, I'm sure they really want to sell units and they want to sell a lot of copies of God of War. I don't think that their first priority is getting a mobile based PWA or a specific set app so that you could play their cloud on mobile devices. So yeah, I would say wait till next year. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think
You're
probably
awesome.
12 to 18 months. Thanks, Luke, for becoming a member. Appreciate it. I know you were before kind of the stuff we were talking about happened earlier on the channel. So thanks for coming back to us. We appreciate it. What's I saying? Yes. So I think probably 12 to 18 months. And I think one thing for me that reinforces that is I don't know if anybody's seen their notification earlier this week, but when they pushed the Backbone PlayStation Edition. When I got the notification in the app to kind of check it out, they're very specific about talking about remote play, regardless of where you are. And you kind of feel like if they were going with, if you've got a PlayStation edition of Backbone, you were either going to do it at that point or it's much further down the road because you would have been looking and saying, well, hang on, if we've got a mobile controller, this is the perfect time for you to be saying, do you know what, actually, PS Plus Premium, you can now play on the go, and here's your apps on this store and this store. The fact they haven't done it, they've pushed that button on remote play from wherever you are. tells me that it's beyond. Sorry, Maker, carry on.
No, yeah, I just want to interject and say, or even say, hey, it's coming soon. It's coming this holiday, or that was the perfect time to announce that a PDBA or a specific app so that you can play PlayStation Plus Premium, and they didn't, and I think they would have, because like something like that, you want to advertise all the ways that you can use it because it ups sales on it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, definitely. And I think when kind of people started seeing stuff about it last week, because I think it was sort of really and truly, even though we kind of got notifications that are pushed out recently, I think obviously people started to see about it last week, and I think there was. I think you could tell there was a general air of optimism that actually maybe does this mean that we're going to see something, and obviously nothing's materialised yet. So yeah, it's I think we're still going to be waiting easily 12. I'd probably say 12 into 18 months, because I think if you go 18 months from now, probably the start of 2024. So yeah.
I'll say I think it's late next year. I mean, that's my personal guess. If it comes sooner, then I'll be color me surprised. I think they're a bit slow to it because I don't think PlayStation needs it right now. They're solid with their PS5 and their PC games that they're dropping.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, so we've got Happy is next. Do we think we will see some cloud gaming at Gamescom? And will we get an update at QuakeCon on any new projects?
That's a good potential that will. I don't know about cloud gaming. I do know that id Software had worked on some cloud tech with Orion before, and then yeah, before Microsoft bought them. So
Yeah,
maybe, but I have a strong feeling that we're mostly just going to see games and gameplay. It would be cool to get like a new Doom announcement, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon.
yeah, I'd agree.
Maybe a remaster. I could see them do like a remaster of an old game, but not a. Uh, I don't think it's gonna be anything big.
Yeah, no, I think very similar to what you've just said. I think it's probably going to come and go, fly under the radar. That there might not be. I mean, hell knows. We could get a surprise, but I think it will probably come and go, and there'll be nothing necessarily stand
It
out that we'll see from it.
because usually you hear odd talks about it before the event happens, and since it's only like a few weeks away, I've heard nothing of something new coming through it. So it's either something small and not many people know about it, or it's like if they kept it well hidden, maybe a big one. But I just don't see it. Usually there's a leak if it's something big.
I was gonna say something normally escapes. It normally gets out somehow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the next question we've got is we've got Luca. So what do you think about Tencent releasing their own cloud gaming handheld console?
Oof. I think it's interesting. For me, a cloud gaming handheld would really need to support mobile data for me to really consider it a mobile cloud handheld because I need it wherever I go. It has to support 5G. It it needs like to run these cloud apps natively and run them well. Which I've noticed that they're supporting GFN and they are supporting Xbox, which is good. It's good to see that Xbox and GFN have taken the initiative to talk with Logitech and say, hey, we want to be on this cloud device. So it interests me. I might pick it up depending on like specifications and other things that we find out about it. But until then, I'm gonna wait and see.
reserve some judgment. I think it's probably a wise call, to be fair. I mean, I think, you know, I think there is a lot there. I think, when you kind of talk about maybe some of the regions that it could launch in, specific to kind of obviously Tencent's, I guess, their major
I,
territory, and where they are, digital infrastructure is better. It's kind of more
I
mainstream, isn't it?
I wanted to mention, I think it would go well with an expansion to xCloud or GFN. Say, like if xCloud launches in like South Korea, that would be a really good one. If the handheld also launches in places like South Korea or, even like South Pacific, maybe, Indonesia, something of that nature. And I think Xbox knows this, and they want to expand more in the East. It just makes sense. Look at they're going to be at the Tokyo Game Show this year again, and they've started showing up. They really need outreach in the East, and they need because there's a big market in the East that they have not captured.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a space and an area, not just in gaming, but in the world where undoubtedly they want to be. That they do want to be relevant. They do want to be in a position where they are kind of taking market share. They're more accessible to people, so it's definitely something to keep an eye on and keep seeing. And as you say, for kind of, I think it's the second straight year now that I've been at Tokyo. Don't think I've missed anything
At
before that.
least
Is
I
it?
don't I don't I don't know if
So
it was 3 years prior, but they definitely kicked it off with like I believe last year Scarlet Nexus was announced coming to Game Pass during that,
yes, yeah, it
and
was.
I think there was a slew of like Japanese based games that were announced, and I think it's really smart. They had the Yakuza series on their cloud service, and I think they're definitely pushing that direction that they want that East support.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Where are we next? I think we've got another one from Happy, which is: do you think Xbox will make a mobile device, or just use Steam Deck and phone? It's an
I,
interesting
I
one.
think I think that they should make a mobile device, but I don't think there's one current in product like that they're developing or creating. It's like because I haven't heard anything about one.
Yeah,
Um, I wish they would though. I think now is the time with Game Pass, such an easy like as long as they don't put like DRM on it so you can't play it offline and stuff like that. I think even if you're able to play your indie games through Game Pass, there's such a big selection of games on there.
yeah. I mean, I think there's a part of me that says I probably find it difficult to believe because I think kind of feel like Microsoft haven't had the best of experience with kind of mobile devices. Um, Obviously they had Windows Phone, they acquired Nokia, they kind of obviously, that sort of went the way that it did. Um, you've got the Surface Duo, which is kind of come and gone, and I don't really think that's set the world alight. So that handheld device, whilst they seem to have been really solid in terms of Surface laptop, Surface itself, Surface Book, I think they've been pretty good in that sense with their hardware, but I don't think they've had as much joy, with mobile devices. So, for me, I'd be quite skeptical over whether they'd look at something like that, especially when what you have to think about is however many mobile devices there are already out there in the world, and if it's Android, if you've got a way to get it on iOS, then really and truly, it's then about making sure that you have a backbone for iOS, something for Android, so that people can enable it, and then it's done from that kind of that device. I think that for me, that would be their area that they probably see as most prevalent to tap into. Is God knows how many devices across the world that people have already got in their hand.
Personally, I think they should kill two birds with one stone and get Steam integration I think that would be ideal so that you can play your Game Pass games offline on the Steam Deck. And, I think it would encourage more PC users to sign up to Game Pass if they can get it through Steam. Because
Yeah.
the Xbox app is just horrible on PC. I hate it. but that's how you have to play it if you want to play it locally on PC.
Yeah. No, I agreed. Just having a quick double check on something before we head on to the next one. So next question from Colm. Colm, thanks for jumping in. Good to see you as always, buddy. I hope you are keeping well. AEW to GeForce Now? Question mark. Obviously, I guess the first thing that we have to say is we don't know anything, so kind of can't give you an official answer in that respect. But I guess we can have a moment of speculation, maker, can't we? Do we think we're going to see the AEW game drop onto GeForce Now?
I don't think so, but that's just because I'm a bit hesitant. Like, they haven't really been big on getting sports games, other than maybe racing games. So I think, but it's going to be up to Nvidia or GeForce Now to communicate that with that team and say, hey, we want your game, and what can we do to help with that. And so we'll see. But I'm on the fence. I'm leaning no. I don't think it's going to show up.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think they probably have to. I think for me, that's probably one that they'd be looking at the appetite for it and seeing kind of what the potential audience is kind of looking like, what the reception to the game is. I mean, the stuff that I've seen, I've not seen the latest trailers, but the last sort of trailers that I've seen, for me personally, I thought it looked a little bit ropey. I think it needed a lot more time, a lot more work, but traditionally wrestling games, I guess, aren't always the best looking anyway. There's normally a little bit of abnormality in terms of how they look, or maybe some of the clunkiness of the controls. But I think it'd be one. Put it this way: if they can't get 2K anytime soon, and they can't bring something like a WWE 2K, if there's an option there and there's an appetite, to kind of bring it, then maybe AEW is kind of the option. Maybe that'll bring an audience in.
Yeah, I could maybe see them grab it as like a replacement, and I agree with you that it does look a little rough based on what I've seen of the game. What comes to mind when you say of games not releasing great was it like WWE 2K like 20, where it was like really really janky and a bunch of bugs.
Yep.
So yeah. Let's hope it's better on release, but we'll see.
Indeed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Where are we? So we've got. It's not necessarily a question. I guess it's more of a statement. But I wanted to pull this one up because I think it's a good discussion point. Golden Sun 3DS is saying, I don't think any Activision games will go to GFN now that Microsoft have bought it. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about this because it's obviously still not a done deal. But I guess, Maker, give us some overview on your thoughts in terms of maybe how you see the acquisition going. Do you think we're going to hit some stumbling blocks? Do you think it's not quite there? Do you think it's going to happen? And then obviously, beyond that, what do you see for GFN?
I think it's going to happen. I think the Activision deal is going to go through because Microsoft needs it. Honestly, I think. I mean, they struggle so much with against PlayStation and Nintendo for them vying for content, and their original content isn't doing as well as it used to. I think that's why they needed these acquisitions with like Obsidian, Double Fine, and all that, and they need something strong like Activision, something that is widely supported. But whether or not it gets completed in the time frame that they want it to be completed, I've heard that there are ways to appeal, like if FTC says no. So we'll see. But if it does go through, I don't think we'll see the games on GFN unless GFN has an integration with Game Pass. If Microsoft specifically goes to Nvidia and says, "Hey, we'll allow you to have our games on there, but you have to allow Game Pass," and and that's the only way I can think, because that's Xbox's focus right now is Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. If you allow Game Pass on your service, on your thing, we'll integrate it, or we'll work with you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you've gone there, because that's probably that's where I would have gone, in the sense of, um, do I necessarily see Activision games going into GFN right now? No. Obviously, do I see them post acquisition? Not in their own right, but I do, if we see this Microsoft tie in with Steam, where maybe you've kind of got Game Pass through Steam, there could be a possible route to then kind of having that conversation to say, well, actually, do you know what? Let's push that through into GFN saying, well, look, we're predominantly PC based. Let's push that sub through from Steam and push the games into GeForce Now, and see if there's kind of any appetite for it. So, I mean, it's something we hope that we see, but it's kind of all pipe dreams at this point in time, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's it is one of those things, and I think in terms of the deal itself, the Activision deal, obviously it's clear they've got mountains to climb, probably, to kind of get that to get that deal done, and obviously people are voicing, there are certainly people around the table voicing concerns over it, reportedly, so, which I guess we kind of expect. I think an acquisition, I don't think this acquisition, whereas Bethesda kind of sailed through, evidently, I think this one was probably slightly different. And it was always going to be slightly different, because of the nature of some of the games that catalogue brought with it, and how to preserve that integrity in making them multi-plat still, if they could.
I did want to comment on it briefly about what recently came out, and it was interesting to see what each company had to say about the acquisition. And I would say a vast majority of them were kind of indifferent. They're like, yeah, there's still competition. There's still these shooters out in the market, and I think that's why I think it's going to go through, because it seems like Sony was the only one that was vehemently against it.
Yeah,
They were like, no, we don't think this is good. Meanwhile, Apple said, yeah, it's fine, and a lot of other big, because if you think about it, gaming revenue through Apple is about the size of Nintendo in size, and
yeah,
Nintendo said that they were fine with it too, and so did Ubisoft and a lot of other companies. So it's just Sony, really, that's making a big issue, it seems.
of course. As anybody, I don't think anybody expected anything different, would they? Let's be honest. um, Especially because of, obviously, a lot of the marketing rights and stuff that they have, particularly with COD, a lot of the exclusive stuff. That kind of,
It's a big game
so
for them.
it's a big game for them, and losing those marketing rights can be pretty. I would say, in their opinion, they would have a good case for saying, actually, that's pretty detrimental, because we worked really hard to get that. So,
At the same time, I'm looking at them like, you're making an exclusive deal with Fire Sprite Games, or was it Fire Sprite, or what was it, Fire or something Games? Not Sprite. I think Sprite is the small team at PlayStation. I know there's a team that was made up of old Activision leads that
yeah,
are working on a shooter game, multiplayer shooter game for PlayStation exclusively. So it's kind of ironic, because it's like you're trying to make your own Call of Duty, but you're mad that they want to take Call of Duty. So
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Where are we going next? I think we're going to Nissan's comment, which is: does cloud gaming in the future support multiple screens? Um, yeah. Obviously, I'm just looking kind of further down some of the other comments because I think some of the people are kind of obviously either alluding to part of it or maybe kind of taking it in the way that the same way that I did, in the sense of if you've got a dual screen environment, are they going to allow kind of that changing of the graphic settings in the adapters to kind of make those dual screens kind of work effectively as kind of one joined screen or one giant screen. I mean, I guess they have to. I think with these things, they have to look at popularity and how much people want to do it. I think if there's enough demand for those things, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about resolutions and frame rates and things like that. And if there's the demand for them, then people, certainly cloud gaming providers will go and work to make sure that they can do it, and then they'll proudly stand there and say, "Do you know what? We've done it. We can do it." So for me, I think if the appetite is there and people show the appetite's there, aside of the work that Shadow are doing, it's always a possibility. It's just whether it's I guess worth, from their perspective, whether it's worth the time and investment in making sure that it's a feasible option for player, comparison to how many people are actually going to kind of feedback and use it. So, what about yourself? What do you think, Maker?
I think that the most likely people who do multiple screen support, it's probably going to be the PC oriented services, Shadow, Boosteroid, GFN. Those will probably they're the most likely to work on that because a lot of their player base do get the games on PC. Some people do have multiple screen setups, so I would say maybe, but as you said before, it's going to be based on demand and demand versus how much work it's going to take. If it's going to take a lot of work and not a lot of people want it, most likely they'll just say, "Nah, it's not worth it."
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a question just for you, Maker, specifically to yourself. Are you looking forward to Starfield and perhaps on Steam Deck?
As someone who thoroughly enjoyed Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, and Elder Scrolls, and I like Bethesda games. Wasn't a huge fan of Fallout 76. I am I'm tentatively looking forward to it. I have this little hesitancy from it, but they've been pretty consistent when it comes to like story, like the stories that they tell. Side quests are usually great in a lot of their games, and I look forward to seeing like what stories they tell through Starfield, or in the mods that people can create. Like to me, the people see 1,000 planets and they go, it's gonna be filled with nothing. But to me, I go, but what about people making mods on those planets? Like someone could create an entire mod with a storyline based around a singular planet that might not be part of the main story. And I love that idea and that allowance for creativity from people. I want to see more of that. So yeah, I'm excited.
Nice, awesome. We'll head off to. I think everybody knows my thoughts on Starfield. I'm not quite sure. I think it's going to be a Marmite game. I think it's either going to land flat and people are going to the hype's going to be so much bigger than the actual end product, or they're going to strike a hit. They're going to deliver exactly what they're expecting. And at this point in time, I've got one eye on it with anticipation and intrigue, I guess. But at this point, I don't know what way it's going to land. I really don't. So, where are we? We are. I can see Duncan has answered KB Ubuntu's question. So thanks for picking that one up, Duncan. Chikapa, RGFN August games lineup going to surprise us in a good way. Question. Blink twice if yes. So, okay, I think the fairest way that I can do that is, in response to your question, I'm going to blink once, And then in response to your question, I'm going to blink twice and tell you to check it out tomorrow. And hopefully, um, hopefully you'll be surprised. As we said earlier, can't lift the lid on anything. Obviously until after the embargo stuff comes out, but we will have a couple of videos dropping on the channel, just about kind of what's coming in the month of August, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Where are we? I'm now trying to sift through the comments and get to the actual ones that are questions, which I absolutely love the fact that, as always, you guys, in the chat on a Wednesday, you're kind of bouncing back and forth against each other. You're obviously giving everybody real good conversation, and it's great to see. So where are we? Got Luke. So we've got question. Have you guys found a significant difference between Boosteroid speed test results of ping/connection and actually using it? It seems pretty inaccurate to me. Maker, have you got any experience with this one?
I haven't, but I have heard of people who reported when they ping tested, they got like high ping, but when they actually went to play a game, it was a bit lower. So I think it might not be 100% accurate. I don't have much personal experience with Boosteroid. I haven't really messed around with it too much, but I have heard some good things about the service and that it runs well for some of the people I know in the U.S. when they dropped the U.S. Servers. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I've run the. I don't really run connection tests anymore, to be honest, because I've got a 1 gig internet connection. So, kind of my, in terms of proximity to kind of data centers and all of that sort of stuff, I really don't sort of. I don't really bother anymore because I'm kind of like, do you know what, I'm fine. As long as I know my internet's running fine and I've not got any kind of service issues on my connection, it's, I don't really do it as much anymore. But it's not the first time, Luke, that I've seen somebody say that they've run the test and it doesn't quite marry up with actually kind of their test and kind of the actual connection. So
I think I've mentioned to you and Duncan that most of the services run around the same for me, and that the only one that I've really seen issues with is Shadow PC, but that's just, I think it's a particular use case for me because I'm in the inopportune place for that.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. If you're in that spot where you get a good rounded experience for Luna, your GFN, Stadia, XCloud, all that sort of stuff, you're in a happy place, to be honest, because you can kind of experience everything really, which is good. That's kind of, I guess, that's where we want everybody to be, isn't it? But obviously, it's dependent on everybody else, isn't it? Okay, so I think we'll go. We've got one last question from Happy, and then we'll wrap it up, guys. So Happy's crazy question. We're going out on an outrageous question. We know that Nintendo has a deal with Microsoft for cloud tech. Can we see a partnership with Xbox and Nintendo to share games on their cloud services down the road? I can see makers deliberating this one. Or are you just going to crush Happy's dreams?
I'm going to crush it. No, I don't see that. I don't see them sharing games in their cloud service at all. I think down the road we're going to get an Xbox app, a Nintendo app, a PlayStation app in the cloud, and I think each of them are going to provide their own services. It's just going to be like Disney Plus, HBO, Netflix, all those different show subscription services, Paramount Plus, etc. And who's going to be the top dog and who's going to be the most used services? It's probably going to be shifting based on what big games that they come out with. I do think that Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation do have a spot in there, though. I think they're probably going to be the significant ones. They have the legacy. They have the IP. And if this Activision Blizzard deal goes through, Xbox is going to be definitely in the top three, and it's going to be hard to match their content, unless we see like a big shift. Maybe someone buying some of these other studios. Like if Amazon says, "Hey, we'll buy EA and Ubisoft," that would be crazy, but that would definitely shift some content their way and sway that, like for content service and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think it's the kind of thing that I don't know. There's a part of me that feels like Microsoft see it almost as a bit of a challenge to crack that nut and try and get Game Pass into Switch in some way. Only from the perspective that I kind of feel like, we were talking about them earlier, kind of getting more into that Eastern market, and obviously, yeah, that obviously PlayStation cover a large chunk of stuff, but there's almost an element of me that thinks that Phil Spencer sees it as like this impossible. I don't want to say this impossible dream, but this impossible challenge that, like, I'm going to be the man. Almost like a lasting legacy that sort of says, well, do you know what? We bought these studios, we brought these into the Microsoft family, we launched cloud gaming, and by the way, I've got Game Pass in Nintendo. Thank you very much. See you later. I'm done.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to do. Really, is
Yeah.
they're trying to get Game Pass everywhere, so it becomes one of the most used subscription services because it's consistent revenue. Everyone wants to have that guaranteed money so that they can work on their own games, and they've already said that they want to reach, like, both PlayStation and Xbox have said we want to reach billions of gamers, and the only way to really do that is through cloud, playing it everywhere, playing it on your Steam Deck, playing it on your Switch, playing it, anywhere that you're able to connect to it, and um, I just see that the future.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I said Happy was going to be the last one, but we'll do one last one because it's Shadow Dark. And that is when when are we going to see the next PGA Golf Tour game? Do you know what? I don't know. It's a question that I actually EA had a new golf game listed, um, which kind of seemed to linger around it and indicate that it potentially could have dropped last year towards the end of last year. I've not seen anything on it for a while. It feels like it's gone quiet, and I don't think I've seen anything from kind of the 2K perspective either. They kind of pushed this, bigger and better versions of PGA 2K21 with their baller edition and that sort of stuff, and obviously there's still I think there's still a good chunk of people that actually playing that. But yeah, when I seen that the fact that EA were possibly going back in and had listed a golf game, it was something that I was like, yes, we know how well. I think back to Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, those sorts of things. They nailed it in terms of being able to kind of deliver a golf game, and I like the way that that they always used to play. So fingers crossed they hurry up and bring another golf game, because it's I do enjoy them. What about you, Maker?
I don't know. I haven't really. There hasn't been much rumblings about a new PGA game, so I'm unsure of when it's coming out. And I know they missed last year. That the last one came out in like 2020. So I think, and it's kind of ironic because I do live at home of the Masters. So so
Nice.
this question kind of fits where I live. So I think it's got to have some bearing. I'm sure that they're working on it, but in terms of when, since I haven't really heard anything this year, maybe next year.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree. I would agree. Um, Perfect. Well, Maker, do you know what? We've done it. We've killed it in an hour and 12 minutes. We've pretty much answered everything Duncan's watching, hopefully thinking that we've not done a tremendous job. No, he's hopefully thinking we've done a tremendous job, and that we've pushed all the right buttons in all the right orders. So I think the only thing that really is left to do is just obviously thank everybody in the chat for kind of the way you've interact as always. We really appreciate it. This one of our favourite out of all the content pieces we do. Wednesday night is probably one of our vast favourites because we just get to sit here and talk pretty much like we do when we're not doing content creation. This is pretty much how all of us guys just sit and talk normally. And it's great to be able to kind of sit and do that, with you guys. The one thing I'm going to shout out in the chat as well, in case anybody, if you do check out the YouTube channel, if you're not already in the Discord, kind of check out the Discord link and kind of jump in there, because honestly, the amount of people that are in there and how kind of the hive of activity that is going on, sometimes I struggle to keep up with it. We've got some fantastic mods in there that do a tremendous job, which is great, and we really appreciate that. But they're arranging game sessions. We've got a new club. There's a Cloud Gaming Extreme Xbox club now. All those sorts of things. So there's a hive of activity that's just going on, and people sorting games out. So if you're not already in the Discord, get yourselves in there and kind of join the fun.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that point, and I think because I know it's been a dry few months as of late. Gaming kind of slowed down over summer, and there's definitely going to be a lot more content, a lot more things coming later this year that I think we're all looking forward to, and I would look forward to on our Discord. I'm sure we'll be talking about it and posting about it in the Discord.
Absolutely. What I will do, just because Happy's trying to show me up, and so put it in the description. It's normally in the description and listed on the channel, but what I will do, I will bang the link in the chat. So there you go, guys. There's the link there for you guys to enjoy. Unless you've got anything else to add, Maker, I think we'll wrap it up there. So thanks to everybody.
Cool. I did want to say thanks to your mama knows and Sassy 077 for dropping by right at the last moment.
Yes, indeed. Rewind and go and kind of see all of the fun that we've been talking.
Yeah,
all
about. The discussions we had. It was good.
Indeed, it was good. Thanks for jumping in, Maker. Obviously, I look forward to doing the next couple with you as well. And we look forward to seeing all of you guys soon. So we'll catch you later.
Bye.